Good morning to you. Just a quick one in terms of what was said at that Umalusi media briefing. We do understand that there were no irregularities and that the council has approved the release of the results. But what was significant was that there were 7 unaccredited centres. We heard briefly about that. Please tell us more about what's happening there.
Well, thank you very much. The quality assurance, Umalusi has actually given the thumbs up to the 2019 matric results. But to elaborate a bit further on that, I'm joined by CEO Dr. Mafu Rakometsi, who's actually going to elaborate a bit further on how they actually went. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Mafu. If you can just give us your overall impression of the results of 2019 and how you saw them as the Council for Quality Assurance.
In terms of how the examinations have run, the Department of Basic Education has done exceptionally well. They have run an examination that does not have systemic challenges. And that has to be celebrated because they are running a huge system. And you know, when you look at the whole process, from the time when the papers are printed to the time when they are packaged and distributed to different centers, it is a massive operation, and we have to actually appreciate the efforts of everybody involved in the process. As for the results, they'll be issued by the minister on the 7th of January 2020, where the minister will be able to pronounce on the progress the department is making. I'm not able to pronounce on that. I can only pronounce on the processes that are leading to the release of the results.
And if you can just elaborate on some of the challenges that you said were not systemic but were actually isolated. What sort of challenges did you encounter? I heard that in the Eastern Cape there were some copying that happened.
Anyway, with every examination there is copying. Even at universities people copy. You'd expect 1 or 2 people here and there to cheat and try to bring crypt notes into the examination room. That is isolated. The point that we are celebrating is that the challenges that we have are not systemic. As such, they don't compromise the credibility of these examinations. What is important to note is that when you run a large system like this, there will be incidents here and there that will compromise the examination, but not on a large scale. One other thing that we highlighted is the unaccredited institutions. The institutions that are unaccredited, it means that they've not met the standards of Umalusi in terms of the qualifications of the teachers, the facilities they use, their laboratories, their libraries. So we want an explanation from the different assessment bodies to say, how did it come that these unaccredited institutions wrote our examinations? Because by default, in our case, once you have written our examinations, you're going to get our certificate. It is unlike with the unaccredited higher education institutions, because the universities, as you would know, issue certificates. UCT will issue certificates and so forth and so on. But if you come with a university that is unaccredited, that certificate will have no currency. So before we release the results of the unaccredited institutions, we want to get an explanation and apply our minds and say, are we justified to be releasing these results, or are we blocking them permanently or not?
Just very briefly before I go to the Basic Education Department, you understand that about 3,000 less candidates were not able to write the exams this year. The circumstances surrounding the drop in the number of candidates this year?
What is important to note is that we are dealing with large populations. 600,000 to 800,000 learners who write these examinations. There are bound to be, variabilities in terms of the numbers of learners that enroll. It could be the population patterns, it could be the demographics, it could be also the progress that learners make throughout the system. We cannot expect the numbers to remain the same because the numbers are high, or to always be increasing. Whilst it is true that we talk about the massification of education and we celebrate that more and more learners are writing, we cannot push the bar beyond our capacity in terms of the population patterns.
Thank you very much. That was Dr. Mafu, who was actually explaining some of the circumstances regarding the 2019 examinations. But joining us now is DBE spokesperson Elijah Mhlanga. Mr. Mhlanga, thank you so much for your time. If you can just tell us about the unaccredited centers that were found by Umalusi and how you're going to address that issue itself.
Well, That's an issue that we'll deal with after the exams, because we always wait for this meeting with Umalusi where they update the public about the work that has taken place and all the issues that they raise. We will then have to go back and investigate. It doesn't mean that those are illegal schools. There will be schools that would have been operating legally, but insofar as the holding and hosting of the NSC examination is concerned, they would not have met the Umalusi requirements, but we'll be giving them a report because they have given us timelines within which we need to go back to them with a report.
And just briefly, you were commended as the DBE for running a very successful examination that's incident-free. What do you have to say for that?
No, we're happy. It shows that the work that we do each year is yielding positive results, because every time after an exam has been hosted, we sit down and conduct a full analysis to see what is it that worked and what didn't work. And every time when we hold the next one, we make improvements. So it shows that in the past few years, the security arrangements around the storage of question papers, as well as the appointment of markers, but also just the commitment and shared dedication of officials that are involved in the examination system is something that must also be given some credibility, because remember, it's people. The system depends on people, but also our candidates, they've also done very well. So we also need to commend them for their job well done.
Thank you very much. That was the DBE's Elijah Mhlanga actually saying that, over the years they've beefed up security, and it seems the beefed up security seems to be reaping rewards in terms of there being no incidents in the 2019 examinations. And with that, it's back to studio.
Thank you very much there to Ofentse Setimo, speaking to the CEO of Umalusi, Mafu Rakometsi. Umalusi, of course, being the Council for Quality Assurance, and they have then said that, or confirmed rather, that there were no irregularities, and the approval of the release of the results. So those results then, matric results, will indeed come out next week on the 7th, on Tuesday. So, and of course, the Department of Basic Education just also responding to the earlier issue of 7 unaccredited centres which Umalusi has asked for a report on, and of course Elijah Mhlanga from the department saying that they will certainly get back to Umalusi about that, but that there doesn't seem that there was anything very sinister about what happened there, and that a report will come through. So of course those matrics who are patiently waiting for those, or maybe not patiently waiting, will get their results then next week, Tuesday, as confirmed there by Umalusi. That briefing taking place in Pretoria. All right, let's